The opening scene shows some light beams passing through various cityscapes of Hong Kong. The voiceover says,
"The Communications Authority is committed to promoting the development of 5G technology."
The scene switches to a virtual environment and a female doctor in white robe walks out onto the runway with 5G logo. Light beams appear on both sides of the runway. The doctor puts on a pair of smart glasses. Then the scene switches to a close-up shot of the doctor who splits into 3 persons, displaying the super multi-presence. The voiceover says,
5G supports high-speed, large-capacity, and low-latency communication for various innovative applications.
The scene switches to an operating theater. In the theater, the doctor puts on a protective suit, surgical gloves, and a mask. When the light of the operating theater is turned on, the doctor, together with several medical staff members, begin the operation. The scene displays the super remote surgery at the same time. The voiceover says,
"Making the impossible possible."
The scene shows live streaming of the operation on the screen in the operating theater. Then the scene switches to show a group of medical students watching the operation simultaneously in a classroom. Some light beams travel across the classroom. The scene displays the super distance learning at the same time. The voiceover says,
5G supports remote surgery and facilitates distance learning.
A split screen shows an elderly woman making a video call on her tablet at home, while the other one showing the doctor conducting a remote visual consultation with the elderly woman. Light beams appear between the 2 screens. The scene displays the super remote medical consultation at the same time. The voiceover says,
"Enables remote medical consultation wherever you are."
The scene switches to a medium shot of the doctor. Some icons of patient medical profile appear in front of the doctor, and a virtual image of the elderly woman can be seen on the upper left side. The doctor swipes the icons. The scene displays the super real-time health monitoring and diagnosis at the same time. The scene switches back to the virtual environment. An engineer wearing a safety helmet walks out onto the runway. Light beams appear on both sides of the runway. The scene displays the super eye at the same time. The scene switches to a shot of the engineer monitoring site safety of a construction site on the screens in a control room. The scene displays the super smart monitoring at the same time. The scene switches to a construction site. A worker is spotted by the monitoring system for not wearing a safety helmet. He puts on the helmet again immediately after hearing an alarm. The scene displays the super remote site safety monitoring at the same time. The voiceover says,
"Ensures safety through 5G smart monitoring."
The scene switches back to the virtual environment showing a symphony conductor holding a baton walks out onto the runway. Light beams appear on both sides of the runway. The scene displays the super live show at the same time. The scene shows the conductor waving his baton. Then the scene switches to show an orchestra performing at a concert hall, displaying the super 5G live streaming concert at the same time. The voiceover says,
"Delivers high-definition performance with synchronized audio and video feeds."
The scene switches to a campsite in the countryside. A couple is watching a live concert on a tablet while their kid is flying a kite at the back. Then the scene switches to show the kid watching the concert on tablet with his parents. The voiceover says,
"Offering audience a live show experience."
The scene switches back to the virtual environment and showing an architect holding VR glasses walks out onto the runway. Light beams appear on both sides of the runway. Then the scene switches to a close-up shot of the architect putting on her VR glasses while displaying the super VR at the same time. The The scene shows the architect operating handheld consoles. A computer-simulated building structure appears in the background. Then the scene switches to show another architect joining together with VR glasses on while operating their handheld consoles synchronously. A building being built from scratch appears between them. The scene displays the super building information modeling at the same time. The voiceover says,
Enhances work productivity with remote interaction.
The scene shows some light beams passing through the Qingma Bridge. The voiceover says,
5G drives the Internet of Things.
The scene switches to a traffic control room and showing the staff members are monitoring the traffic system. The scene displays the super smart traffic management systems at the same time. Then the scene switches to show urban areas with some light beams passing through a city highway. The voiceover says,
Things without boundary.
The scene switches to a street view. In the street, a primary student looking at her smartwatch touches the watch face and a map icon pops up. Another 2 primary students are running by her side at the same time, with some light beams traveling between them. The scene switches to a medium shot of the 3 primary students. 3 icons of different transport modes with supers that read, Arrival time, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and 8 minutes appear in front of the students. The student standing in the middle presses the icon of 3 minutes. The voiceover says,
Making our life better.
The scene switches to Hong Kong's night view. Some light beams travel around the city. The scene switches back to the virtual environment. The conductor, doctor, engineer, primary student, and architect appear together and standing in front of the spotlight. Some light beams travel between them. The voiceover says,
The superpower is in hand. 5G makes the impossible possible.
The last scene shows the light beams converging and transforming into the logo of the Communications Authority, while displaying the following supers. 5G makes the impossible possible, and www.5g.gov.hk.